Hi there. In this quick video we will be looking at this KAIWEETS KDC01 crimping set, and it basically has about all that you would need inside of it. The crimping tool itself, a wire stripper, we can see part of it right here, and obviously the ferrules for the ends of the wires that we will clean. Let's take a look on the back of it. So these are the sizes of ferrules and the number of them. Quite a lot, which is perfect. And yes, it makes sense, the smaller sizes are more of them. It's easier to put more compared to a bigger size because they occupy much more space. But also, at least in my experience, I never run out of huge ones. I use them from time to time, but mostly I use smaller ones. So yeah, this makes sense. Then something else, be sure to switch off the power before using the wire stripper. First I thought, what power? And then it hit me. Wait a second, the mains power. People are actually forgetting to switch off the fuse and are working on mains wires. So yeah, good warning at the end of the day. Approved eye protection, and they conform to electrical standards, which is perfect. If you want more info, right here, and maybe if you want to scan this. So yeah, let's cut this open and get right into it. So we are now inside the box, the wire stripper itself, which until recently I had no idea how it's supposed to work, but I will show you in a moment because I learned. They are actually much better than I expected, honestly, but we'll see about that in a moment. And then the tool itself, which has a cliquet to it, and it locks in place when unused to occupy less space. I have a similar tool. It's a no-name, but it's a similar tool overall. The cliquet on it, it's kind of not properly working anymore, but it's done if it's fair share of crimping. So yeah, this will be able to replace that, and that will trickle down to my father because yeah, he still has more available space for his tools than I have. This thingy overall, red, it's plastic, sturdy plastic. Black, it's rubber. Feels nice in the hand. This is the orientation in which you are using the tool. And it has some kind of, I don't know if it's actually a safety feature or not. It will not, actually not safety, prevent misuse feature. I think that's the proper term. It will not allow you, the cliquet, to undo this until you have reached the end of the crimping itself. And also, if you crimp it and don't go to the other end, it's not going to lock again. You see it? Until you let it go to the end, and then it's locking once again. And now you get to this end, and look at that little guy. Now it can lock again. Just look at it, it will jump. Pack. And now it locks. If I go only halfway, it does not allow me to do another correct crimp. So yeah, that's about it. And if you want to have it locked for storage, do not fully tighten it, because then it will actually unlock. And yeah, again, this is the correct orientation. Your fingers can properly reach it. If you try to use it rotated, it's not sitting nicely in here. It doesn't feel good in the hand. For me, this is the correct orientation, and one of these things failed because it's packed full, which is perfect. Just to get this out of the way, this is the old tool that I had. It's seen its fair use. I think it has a bit of wear in here, that's why its clickets don't latch properly anymore, but still usable. My father will use it for sure. Does this have similar clickets in this area? Yes, but obviously they are brand new, zero use on it. And this also has a bit of a difference in where the adjustment level is. I think this is set to really high at this point, and this is set to minimum, so it can be tightened way more than this. I think that affects how much it actually tightens the ferrules themselves. And there's that. And I also, yeah, for the cheap tool I needed to buy my own ferrules because I use a lot of them, and my daughters yeah, made a nice mix out of them. So my father will also be getting these things because now I have something that is not all mixed up. So yeah. Now let's play with this. So let's see. I initially thought that you press on this just a little bit, you put your wire in here, you squeeze it, rotate, squeeze, rotate. Actually, it seems it's not like that. Depending on the thickness of your wire, you kind of put it in the lowest place it will go and use it like this. And now get it out of here, put it onto something, press on it and get it out. Yeah, I know. Let's try with a different wire. So it's actually quite a useful and simple tool, and depending on thickness of wire you use different holes in here. The more you work with it, the more you will know how many turns you need depending on the cable type. This cable, for example, has a really thick insulation on it, and as you can see we haven't yet cut it, and I also wasn't careful to stay in the same area, because if you allow it, it will start to thread somehow itself onto the wire, so you are not cutting exactly in the same point anymore. And now we are okay. Yes, you could try to also do it in your hand, but it's much more difficult. If you put it onto something, it's out and you have your wires. So yeah, this is how you use this thing. And if you overdo it, you will cut some of the threads on some of the, not threads, some of the thin copper wires in there. So don't rotate this too much, just the minimum needed for the thickness of insulation that you are dealing with. Let's crimp something onto this. What I learned over time that you want to be doing is use the smallest one that will fit your wire, but it has to fit the copper and also the insulation, so this goes over the insulation. In this case, this one fits quite well on this green wire, even over the insulation. But on the gray wire, which has thinner, I think this is actually aluminum or coated copper, not really 100% sure, it will not fit over the insulation. This is not good. So in this case we use the next thickness, although it's a bit thicker for the copper itself, it fits over the insulation just perfectly. So this one we want to be using in here. Let's do a quick crimp. Put it in there. Make sure it goes almost all the way. Some people like it to go over this, depending on what you need. In this case I just remove the insulation just by chance, and we are, if we look, quite close. It's good enough for our testing here. So put it in here, make sure it's at the end. Unlock the crimper, put it in there quite close to the end, crimp it, and it's done. It's tightened over the wire. This isn't going anywhere. I've crimped like this many wires. This is extremely safe and sturdy. You can use it where you have terminals where you need to tighten it with a screw. This will not allow the wires to get cut. It's really good connection in my opinion like this. Let's also do this wire, which weirdly enough, again, it's thicker in here, although the wires inside are thinner, but it needed to be for the protection on this. Let's quickly crimp it. And it's fully crimped in here, not going anywhere. You cannot pull this thing out. So yeah, that's about how you do it. And again, when you lock this thingy, don't overdo it, because then it will actually unlock and it will not stay locked to put it inside the box. You just need it around here to be able to put it inside the box. And if you want to adjust the tension, you do it from here. If you feel the need that something is not 100% up to what you like, you have an adjustment. For me, from what I see now, this is working perfectly out of the box, and this is what it can do. So from 0.25 to 10 square millimeter wires. Those are big wires. This thingy, yeah, it was similar, and I think I actually did. I used at least this size, if maybe even this size, with the other tool, and it worked perfectly. And I have zero doubts that this thing wouldn't work with that. So I'm sure it will. And yeah, overall, nice tool and good to have around the house for such things. I basically have it in all the sockets and lights and everything. It's much better than just thinning the end of a wire. This is a much sturdier thing to do. So let's put it back in the box, staying nicely in place. This on top of it, because they kind of work together. Close the box and we are done. Thank you very much, KAIWEETS, for sending this thing in, and I'm quite sure my father also thanks you, because he'll be getting my old set, which obviously you can see not much of a difference in size, but they were two things. When you are carrying two things. This is all in one single box, plus the wire stripper in there. And that's about it for this video. If anybody has any questions, feel free to ask in the comments. Again, remember, pressure adjustment if you need it, but probably you won't. Anyway, feel free to ask in the comments, and see you in the next video.